Hey everyone, this is Nicole. I wanted to do a quick video because I've been seeing a trend, if you will, in Slack with people having the same issues. So I wanted to give y'all my solutions and see if that helped everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay, so a lot of people are saying now that their scenes are getting, Story Engine isn't following their scenes. A story engine isn't perfect, but most of the time it is user error. And this is something that may not be obvious. I know I had an issue with a story, and it wasn't until 2 stories later where I figured out how I was causing the issue. So this is definitely something you tend to learn as you go. So this is my preferred genre box. It's the one box I don't max out, but I usually get about half. And what I like to do is I combine genres and subgenres so that it covers all the aspects of that story. And the format isn't important. I like to do it this way because depending on the chapter, I might have the fantasy down here instead, or something else. I like to rotate these out as needed so that whatever the main theme is, the main focus in the chapter, that is happening towards the end. Excuse me. So keep in mind your last words in the genre and style box, they have the most impact on your prose. That's why I'll usually just switch them around. Sometimes I want to edit it out completely. For instance, right here. So this story has a tragic ending. Now, not knowing what I did in the beginning, I had put everything into my genre box and just left it as is. So even though my beats, I don't believe I have the beats in this one. Nope. So even though my beats might tell the scene to go a certain way, think of it like this. Okay, beats are you telling Story Engine what happens in the scene. Your genre and your style box tell Story Engine how it happens. So no matter what my scene is, because I have this right here, tragedy, at the end of my genre box, that scene is going to end with someone dying. Obviously, you don't want that in your first chapter. Well, maybe you do. Probably a good way to start, actually. But no, this happens at the end. So in this instance, I could move it up here, but since it really doesn't happen until the end of the story, it's best I just take that out. So that is one way that a scene could go completely wrong from what you intended. And I'll show you another. So this is one of my spicy books, my dark romance. Story Engine, as we probably all know, if you've played around with it at all, it has a tendency to be very optimistic, happy-go-lucky, looking through life through rose-colored glasses, whatever you want to call it. If you're doing a romance and you don't want that, take out the word romance. Take it out completely. Dark romanticism works really well, but I did try to combine romanticism with other genres, other types of romance. It didn't work as well. So this does work well for helping take out or tone down the cheesiness. If it's not a dark book, I recommend just taking out the word romance and using other stuff, like mafia. I'll have a lot of violence in this one, so this action right here would actually get rotated out and all that. But in this particular story, and this is the one that took me a couple of stories later on to figure out what happened. Actually, 2 things happened in this, and I'll show you both of them. No explicit content, don't worry, except for the wording here. There's no explicit content. I'm going to show you. Okay. So in this particular story, the first chapter involves my heroine and her fiance at her fiance's home. She's visiting him in England. Well, later on in that story, about midway, a non-consent scene happens. So I had that down here. Again, this was before I started changing things per chapter. So it's very helpful. If you do this, change things up in your genre and style box per chapter, you'll find you'll have less issues. But still, this is stuff to keep in mind. So I have a knock and sit scene later on in my book, but I went ahead and put it here in my style box to prepare Story Engine, because Story Engine will go into more details if you have it focused in the style and genre. Now, because I had that word in here, their sweet encounter in the first chapter ended up turning into a non-consent scene. So it wasn't anywhere in my beats, it wasn't anywhere in the framed up synopsis outline for that to happen. But because I told Story Engine, this is how I want you to do it, inadvertently, I didn't mean to, but Story Engine didn't know that. So that's what the style box is telling you how you want that scene to play out. So I would need to get rid of that. This one was another instance where I had just a glimpse of that happening, and instead, so Story Engine turned that the whole way around and just made the whole scene that. So not the way you want to go. So, like, let's say you got a thriller. For whatever reason, I keep thinking of Wizard of Oz today. I guess I need to do a story on it. Let's say Dorothy's walking in the field of flowers, but you're turning the Wizard of Oz into a really horror type show. So you got bloody depictions of gore in your style box because you do want that in your story. And it might be later in that scene that you're working on now, or a chapter later, but for whatever reason you have it. And so if Dorothy's walking through a field of flowers and you got this, well, something's going to happen, and I don't know, the flowers are going to burst into things of blood, or you can have your character going into I think Jason, your character's walking, at the beginning of the movies, they're walking through the forest, having a good time, laughing, partying, doing whatever, swimming, of course. But if you have a bunch of this towards the end, because remember, your last words have the most impact. So if you got this down the end and your characters go to take a swim, well, Jason or whoever your killer is likely just going to come up and drown them. Or if they're walking through a forest, even, you're setting up your opening chapter, your character's just walking through a forest, enjoying the beautiful day, thinking about her wonderful life. But you got this, well, a tree branch is likely to fall and smash her head open like a watermelon. So keep that in mind. Again, beats are telling Story Engine what happens in that scene, but your style is telling Story Engine how it happens. And I'm going to show you one more issue. I don't remember where I have it. I think it's this. Yes, because this is where we did our food things if you were here on the Arthur Hour. And a lot of this stuff, I'm really not introducing anything new. A lot of these things people go over in their Arthur Hours. So attend those as much as you can. I'm 4 or 5 months into using Story Engine, and I'm always learning something. And let's see, where is it? Here we go. So yeah, I can't bring myself to delete that. We had so much fun during that time. But another issue I see people talking about is how Story Engine either creates a new character that is not in their character list, or a character that should not be in the scene is showing up in the scene. Sorry, I had to keep muting my mic so I can cough. I'm a creature of habit. So yes, you've probably seen this before if you've seen the Story Engine Doctor Hour. So one thing you want to avoid is saying things like a man, a woman, or, anything that's non-specific. Like Ryan says, be specific. And I'm going to show you both ends of the spectrum here. So if you have Sarah walks into the coffee shop and sees a man, and you continue on the scene, because this is like their meet cute, and you don't actually want Michael to come into the scene yet, or you don't want them to talk. Story Engine doesn't know that. Story Engine just sees there's a man here. I got to write this story, so I need to identify this man. So Story Engine could bring in, just a completely new character all of a sudden to fulfill that role. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you say Sarah walks in the coffee shop and sees Michael, well, story engine's either going to have Sarah do this inner monologue thing of what she thinks of Michael, maybe some past incident, or they're going to walk up to each other, start talking like they're best friends. And again, this is supposed to maybe be their meet cute. So you don't want that to happen. So the solution is you definitely want to be specific. So you don't want to say Sarah sees a man. You want to be specific. What I like to do, did I do it in this one? I think this is the story. So I like to utilize parentheses. You can see them here. I do this for like series, books in the series where story engine needs a brief backstory. But I also utilize it a lot for, I call it, think of it like this is information story engine needs to know to write the story properly, but you don't need story engine relaying that to the readers or, doing anything in that way. You don't want it talking about it. So in this instance, you'll name Michael because you don't want some random character popping up. And you could just put in parentheses. You'll need to play with the wording to fit your scene. So you could do that. You can even take it a step further. If this was your beat, like a beat, and I don't want to chance story engine having them meet each other or talk to each other right now. Actually, I would put that. So I would have it this way, and then I would do a second parentheses. I would actually do it as a guardrail. So you can have more than one, like this could be a focus drivers if you use those. I typically don't. This would be a rare instance where I use guardrail. I only use it one other time. And I'll show you that too, because I know a lot of people are having trouble with the cheesy lines and all that. So you can have two parentheses here. So you're saying you're letting story engine know they don't know each other, they've never met. So again, since it's in parentheses, SE should not relay that information. Like it's not going to have her walk into the coffee shop, see Michael, and they go, oh, but Sarah does not know Michael and they have never met. It's not going to do that. It shouldn't do that. I have used it successfully. I'm not just trying to throw out options here that I haven't tried. And then this guardrail here just reinforces that. I would put it at the end of this beat to reinforce they should not talk to each other. Now, let's say beat 9, you do want them to talk to each other, one of them spills the coffee or something like that. So you wouldn't have that there, but this keeps the scene from progressing too fast and having them going ahead and having a conversation when you don't want it. Okay, let me jump over to this real quick because I told you I'd show that. So if you're having trouble with cheesy lines, my favorite go-to, and I have tested extensively using the genre box, the style box, all kinds of wording. The most success I have is putting another guardrail at the end of any beat. Let's see. So I tried using avoid cliche speech and stuff in my genre and style. It helped a little, but not nearly as much as I need to. Now I don't worry about it. I save my genre and style box words for other things. And I put a guardrail at the end of any beat. Obviously, it doesn't really apply to this story. For some reason, I keep going to this story whenever I'm doing a lot of testing and showing people things. But if I think the best friends are going to end up getting too cheesy, I'll put this in the at the end of the beats. Or if you're not sure if the beat would produce it, you could put it at the end. It's not going to mess, you could do it for every single one. It's not going to mess anything up. Just every single one could have that. Doesn't hurt anything. So that's an option for cheesy lines and stuff. But again, if you don't want that at all, definitely take out the word romance in your genre. Okay, so let's say you're doing a thriller or a murder mystery, whatever. So I don't do those a lot. I do want to do a psychological thriller, and I have one started, but maybe someone who actually does write in that genre can chime in more on this, on how you can actually word it. But let's say somewhere in your book, you have your heroine, Sarah. Can you tell I'm a creature of habit? So you have Sarah in the grocery store, and you want a scene where the killer, actually encounters Sarah. And of course, you don't want, you want to keep the identity hidden for some reason. But maybe this is from the killer's point of view in this. Well, he wouldn't know who Sarah is. So you'll definitely need somebody in the thriller genre to do this wording right. But this is another instance where you'll do similar to the meet cute for the coffee shop. You'll want to name your person, because if I just have the killer helps her pick up things and keeps going, well, Essie's going to see the killer here, and he's likely to just stab her right there in the grocery store. So you'll want to name your person. And then that's another instance where you could say they don't know each other, or whatever wording you're needing to keep hidden. So I understand the reason people would want to put be vague, because they don't want Story Engine pointing out who the person is, or they don't want them really involved in the scene. So utilize the parentheses as much as you need to keep Story Engine on track, while still being able to get rid of the vagueness. So instead of a man or the killer, you have Michael here. You're telling it who specifically is in that scene, because you don't want it bringing in a random character or a character that shouldn't be in the scene. So tell it who is in the scene, and then utilize your parentheses for however you need to convey the tone and the overall direction that you want the scene to go in. So I hope that helps somebody. Like I said, no vagueness in your beats. Be specific, utilize parentheses, and just keep in mind that your genre and style box, again, the last sections have the most impact. And style is going to tell Story Engine how to write that scene. So if you don't want tree limb falling on your character's head, smashing it open like a watermelon, might not want to put the bloody depictions of gore or violence and stuff like that in the last of your style box. So thank y'all very much for watching.